What the actual fuck is this shit? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, let's zoom in a little bit. You wanna know what that shit is? You wanna know what that is? Let's go! Today's chore is to clean this nook area that has kind of become a dumping ground. And there's a shelving unit I want to put on this wall for all of our bulk items that are not liquid. So that is what we're going to work on right now. Yay. Alrighty, here is the library now. This corner was full of stuff. Now it's kind of sort of organized, or at least the startup. I still need to put stuff on this shelf. The litter box needs to be filled in case the cats get locked in here. The air compressor needs to go to the tool room, but the tool room's kind of a mess. Sorry for the wind in the background. There's some camping supplies there that we need to reorganize and go through and get rid of anything we don't need. The cat litter that we have for the front porch, when that's empty, all the ice melt will go in there. Our cooler for when we take long trips back and forth to Great Falls and need to keep the cold stuff and stuff. And then the 3 tubs here are full of children's storybooks. The kids and I have gone through this at least once. These are all the ones they wanted to keep at the time. It might be time to go through them again, and when we go through them this time, we will organize them into our library. And by library, I mean like my digital library. And then once they're in my digital library, I will slap a printout of what books are in each tub so they don't get mixed up. And the tubs will be labeled. And then after that, these are going to be considered packed for whenever we do move. So, and then in this other corner, the reason I call this the library nook is because this is a secondary fridge and freezer. I don't know what any of that stuff is. That's been there as long as we've lived here. Gotta go through that next possibly. Eventually gotta clean out this freezer, clean off. That's our bag of bags that we use for trash. And yeah, it's cleaner now. We're good to go. I'm much happier with it. I can at least walk and get to the fridge without like tripping over stuff now. Hey Dragonlings, welcome back to my kitchen. It is a mess and I apologize, but I am going to be attempting to make bread today. I have never made bread before. However, bread is like the cheapest loaf, which is the nasty kind of bread, is now $6 in our local grocery store. I spent about $10 yesterday for all the ingredients to make bread at home. And so like I'm waiting for a pot of water to boil so that I can wash the pot I need, and then we are gonna attempt to make bread. I don't know how this is gonna work, but I will post a link in the description of the recipe I'm using, and there's only 4 ingredients. Active dry yeast, I think it's called. It's yeast, active yeast, I don't know what it's called exactly, but yeast, warm water, salt, and flour. That's it. That's all there is to it. So I figured we're going to try this. We're going to see if this works, because if this does, it'll be cheaper for me to buy the ingredients to make bread at home versus going to the store and buying some. And because it'll be fresh, it'll be hopefully tastier. So we'll see how this goes. I am not a baker. I am bad at baking. I can barely cook. More times often than not, it takes me making the same exact recipe 20 times before I get it right the first time. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. I've got low expectations and high hopes. So we'll see what happens, and yeah, I'll take you guys along on the journey. And by that I mean I will show you like the results. So yeah, that's what we're doing first this morning. And then I just finished uploading a video to YouTube. It was a chatty update. And yeah, because I just filmed that yesterday and edited it, uploaded it today, I really have nothing to add. So we're going to make this bread and we'll go from there. Check back in later. So this is what our dough looks like. And we're going to let this rest for 5 hours. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Good, good, good. Good bread. Good bread. Go to sleep. Stay. What the actual fuck is this shit? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, let's zoom in a little bit. You wanna know what that shit is? You wanna know what that is? Let's go! What the fuck? No! It's springtime, damn it! And look how windy it is. Holy shit. It probably won't stick. It's actually too warm. I'm out here in a t-shirt and I'm fine. But that is not the point. The point is it's spring and it's snowing. Ah! I have bread. I have bread. I have bread. Look at my first loaf of bread I've ever made. I'm so excited. Okay. Look at this. Okay. He got some crunch. I'm so excited.
Not overcooked.
Hopefully not.
Ow.
We need to let it rest.
No, I just got to. I gotta make it in there. There we go. This is your first attempt, so good or bad.
It has to be perfect, though. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Oh, look at that bread. Look at the steam that's coming off of it. Okay, the bottom's a little crispy.
Yeah, just
oh,
a little.
Would it be easier if we put it on a, cutting board? Don't cut through our thing.
So
looks a little dense.
Probably.
No.
No.
I'm gonna be the first to taste. Looks like it's a little dense. That's okay. That's okay. First attempt. First attempt.
At least it's not liquidy.
Yeah. Justin made a honey butter. It's fucking delicious. I don't eat ends, and this is delicious. It is still a little dense. I think it could have cooked a little longer with the covering on and a little shorter with the covering off. But it also might have needed more time to rise. I don't know. First attempt is not bad, though. Not the best, not bad. So when I originally took a video about it snowing, the truck wasn't here, but it snowed again last night. And this is what the truck looks like after I took the girls to the bus stop. There's still snow on it. However, look around. This is the result of the snow yesterday. Like, there's nothing. Like, there's a little bit here and there, but there's nothing otherwise. Yay. Also, sorry about the sun. Sorry. This is the walkway going back up to the house. Like, there's a little bit of frosty. Hi, Baggy. A little bit frosty, but otherwise it's good. Okay, I have no excuse to stand here. The lighting is weird because there are still Christmas lights up because the hallway is very dark, even with the light on. So instead of turning an actual light on, yeah, we just have Christmas lights up still. Don't ask me why. I don't know. I'm not going to complain about it because I look blue and I'm here for it. Anyways, I'm just standing in the hall while I chat with you guys real quick. Hi, Ogre. Stop sniffing my ass. Anyways, I just finished filming a whole bunch of videos. I did some bulk filming until basically my voice gave out. I think I filmed 3, maybe 4. So that's a thing. And then I'm now going to go get some lunch and I'm taking a break. And what I'm doing is I am finalizing organization of stories on my computer. I am opening up all of the short stories from like years ago that have been across multiple different computers, like 4 or 5 at this point. And what I'm doing is I'm looking through them, and some of them I'm reading. Some of them are short enough that I can just read them and see if they're complete. Others, I'm kind of skimming them without actually reading them. I probably should actually read them. I probably actually should read them. I need to go back and actually read them. And the reason for that is because they've been on so many computers over the years. They've been on flash drives. They've been on different computers, different ways of storage. I have come across some that are not complete, that I know were once upon a time complete, which means these were either corrupted files that I have transferred to this computer, or the documents I have when I transferred everything from basically Word to Scrivener. The Word program, the Word files were corrupted files, and so like what transferred was all the good stuff. So I've come across a couple stories already so far that are not complete, and I knew I was going to do this because I've talked in another video where I was doing this organization and just basically shoving stories where they needed to be
I mentioned that I was going to have to one day do this and go through everything and figure out what's complete and what's not. And then I would have to decide what to do with these files. And I'm at that point. I need to decide what to do with these files. These are all stories that are over 15 years old. These are stories from like 2010 and before. I've even got some stories that I'm like, it's not so much as they are like cringe stories. They are, but that's not the part that bothers me. The part is like, I don't know what to do with them. They're not stuff, they were good writing exercises at the time, but now in the modern time, I've got to decide, do I want to keep them or do I want to toss them? Because they're not doing anything on my computer. I have no plans of publishing them. I don't want them someday published as my work, in the fact that, you know how sometimes when people pass away, their unpublished work will suddenly be published. I don't want the chance of that. This was stuff that was literally for me to get ideas out of my head. And that's it. That's all it was meant for. It was me practicing a specific thing in my writing. And I don't want those kind of stories to be later published in any capacity. So I've got to decide, do I want to keep those stories because they were words I once wrote? Or do I want to toss them? And I'm leaning more towards tossing them. I know we're always like, no, words are bad words. Don't delete words. Stuff like that. But these weren't stories that were meant to be kept. They were exercises and practice and how I've built my skill over the past 20 years. And so I've got to make decisions. I've got to decide what I want to do. And I don't know yet. But that's what I'm working on today, and avoiding other work. That's my procrastination today. So I'm going to go make some lunch. It's cold in the house today. We got a little bit of snow last night. It's already warm enough outside. It's melted, but it's cold in the house because we've had the heat off for the past couple of days. So yeah. All right. I will chat with you guys later.
Okay, another thing I wanted to mention real quick. I am waiting for my water to boil so I can make my mac and cheese. But one of the things I am also working on is I'm going through, the reason I decided to go through all these stories is because like I've got a few stories that I had published under a pen name many moons ago. I have a complete video series talking about that. I will try to link it in link it below. It was several videos, so I don't remember if there's a playlist for that or if it's just, I'll link the direct video that involves that. But anyways, the point is I think there was 3 stories that were originally published under a pen name when I was just testing out some things. And one of the things I've been debating is like going through and strengthening it, bringing it up to par with what I do, and republishing them. So that got me to thinking, what other short stories have I written across the year? And all of this revolves around the fact that, all of this revolves around the idea that if I don't publish Sultry Solstices this year, do I have other works that are like these close to being ready for publication that are like standalone stories that I could publish instead? And so that's what, I have a tuna can open while I'm waiting for lunch to cook so I can make like tuna casserole. She wants my tuna can. Anyways, at least now I know why she's mad at me. Can you not? You can wait. But that's the reason I'm looking through all these stories, is because I'm like, what have I written throughout the years that is like, I don't want to publish stories, at least as standalones, that are less than 10,000 words. So I'm trying to figure out what stories I have written over the years that can be edited, that are either right at 10,000 or more, or close enough that when I flesh them out some more and edit them some more, could be brought up to par with what I would consider publishing. That's what started me on this whole journey today of going through all these stories and reading through them. Plus, I've done a video where I was doing creating the master list, and I've got 600 projects listed on that, and 300 plus of them are stories like I have no intention of ever reading back through again. And I'm reading back through them now because I want to decide if I want to keep them or not. But I'm like, as I'm reading them, I'm like, ugh. And it's not even like cringe, it's just, why did I write this? What was the point of writing this? Because some of them are just weird. And all of these stories that I'm looking through so far are like less than 1,000 words.
They were literally just flash fiction I wrote when I had random ideas. They're more like snippets than actual stories. And like they've got a beginning, middle, and end. They are technically by the definition of a story, they are a story. But like they feel like snippets out of longer stories that I have no intention of writing. And I'm just like, I don't want to keep these. I don't want these in my repertoire. I don't want these in my catalog. So that's what started me on this journey. Is thinking about what stories I could publish if I don't publish Sultry Solstice this year. And as it stands, even if I wasn't procrastinating by doing this thing and I was like actively working on Sultry Solstices right now, I'm still gonna have to wait for beta and editor feedback. And I don't know at this moment in time, I really won't know until closer to June, honestly, if I'll be able to be where I want to be before I start publishing the series. And again, I've mentioned multiple times, I want the series complete before I publish the first one. Okay, I thought I was touching, I got hot all of a sudden, so I thought I was touching the stove. I wasn't. So yeah, that's what led me on this whole journey. I'm sorry, I'm shaking. My arm's getting tired already. But yeah, so now I'm doing basically procrastination instead of working on Sultry Solstices, because again, even if I finish it, I've still got to wait for betas. I've still got to wait for editors. And yeah, that's where I currently stand with each of these stories and why I'm doing what I'm doing by going through the rest of my stories. I have the folder I'm looking at currently. There are 300 stories in it. They're all short stories. I'm pretty certain most of them are less than 1,000 words. And I'm like, I don't really want to keep these. I don't want them in my catalog. And they're all from like 2006, 2007, 2008. I think the newest one so far that's still under 1,000 words is from 2009. I was writing a whole bunch of fucking flash fiction back then, apparently. But again, I graduated 2008 from high school. So these were all ones I wrote in high school. I'm a very different writer from when I was in high school. I don't even, like, reading back through these stories, I'm like, where the fuck did I come up with this idea? Was this just a dream that I wrote out as a story? Most of them probably are. But I'm just like, I have no desire to read back through them ever again. I don't want anyone else reading them either. So I'm like, do I keep them because they are words I have written over the years? Or do I go ahead and be like, c'est la vie, and say bye? I don't know. Conundrums. So a couple things. It is Saturday, so I should be actually wrapping this vlog up. I don't know how long it's going to be. It might be a short one. It might be a long one. But I finished, for the most part, sorting through all of my stories and actually putting them where I think they need to go. I have folders set up that say, like, trash, ? For the stories that I'm like, I don't really want to keep, which are a lot. I also have separate folders for unfinished stories, ones that were probably corrupted. These are ones that I do want to keep, but I don't have the full story anymore because the files were corrupted. So they're in a different folder labeled unfinished. And then stories that were originally published in the poetry collection or the short story collection, I have kept, even if they are ones that I'm not really interested in keeping, because I haven't decided what I'm going to do with those yet. Poetry, I'm not really interested in keeping any poetry at all. There's like one or two that I'm interested in keeping, and that's it. Otherwise, I could care less if like those files disappeared. It would not make me very upset, is what I'm getting at. So I have to figure out what to do with that kind of stuff. And then the other thing I've been up to is I created a template for like a character chart where you could track the names of all your characters so that you could make sure that you had all the descriptions and like nicknames, what book they come from, their gender, sexual preference, all that fun stuff, physical description. I have a template that I made for that, and I have yet to use it because I'm like, I have so many stories, and like one of the reasons I created it was so that I could start tracking if I used a name more than once, where else did it pop up, kind of thing. Is it part of a series that's already published? Have I published multiple books with the same name used multiple times? That's happened. But my thing is, like, with side characters, I don't care. Like, I don't care if they have the same name. So now I've got a conundrum. I need to figure out if I'm going to have one character chart with all the character names, one character chart with just the names of like the main characters who actually have an impact on the story or series? Or do I need two character sheets? One for like all main characters where like I definitely want to make sure I don't have repeats of names. And then as well as a secondary spreadsheet where I can track like side characters who really like even characters that don't appear more than once or twice in a book or series, because they may play an important role, but with those kind of characters, at least for me in my books, it doesn't really matter what their name is. They could all have the same name and it wouldn't matter as long as they're like, but not all the characters in the same story have the same name kind of thing. Like there are a couple names that I'm recognizing that I have used multiple times and I'm just like, yeah, apparently I like that name. And it's not really that, it's not even that I really like the name, it's just that that's the first name that pops in my head when I'm like, oh, I need to name this character that's only going to appear once or twice. And I just keep using the same couple names over and over again. So that's the conundrum I'm having now. I've got the template open, it's staring me in the face, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So I've got to figure that out. I think right now I'm just going to start and put like all names in it. I'm not going to completely fill out the chart, but like I will completely fill out the chart for like characters that are mentioned in like full glory kind of thing, where like if it's got a first name, last name kind of thing, I'll put those in because I've got, okay, so the template, let me turn you around so you can take a look at it with me. Okay, so we got character name. That's just like the name they go by, what project it's from, the series it's from, their full name if they got first, middle, last mentioned, a nickname they might go by, birthday, age, gender, this is a drop down, sexual preference is a drop down, height, body type, also a drop down, eye color is a drop down, hair color and style is a drop down, skin tone's a drop down, physical descriptions just there, species if they're not human, allergies, whether they smoke, drink, or do recreational drugs, what they want, what they fear, and what they love. That's more, those three questions are more for the main characters and like the side characters who have a big impact on the story, but I wanted to make sure I included it. So yeah, that's what this spreadsheet has and what we're looking at, and I need to figure out what I'm going to do. So yeah, that's the conundrum I'm having. I've got to, hey, why are you scratching at my chair? You just came inside. Come here, hold on, I got something in your eye. Come here. Now. Got boogies. All better. All better, Chester. Sorry about that. But yeah, that's what I've got to do now. I've got to decide if I want to one chart, two chart, main characters, side characters, just main character. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I think at this moment I'm gonna go through, and then I've got to decide. So on top of all that, I've got to decide, am I doing this just for stories that I know I'm going to publish? Am I doing it for all projects, whether I'm going to publish them or not? There's so many projects, and I've probably used the same names in multiple of them so many times. There's a few projects that don't have names listed. I've already read enough of them trying to figure out what to put where stories, what stories where, that I know that. But then there's also the fact of, do I want to include just stories that are complete, stories that I only have ideas for, like, I don't know. I think I am going to start with, I think for now, I'm just going to start with the Sultry Solstices series and see how I feel. Because not all the Sultry Solstice stories have been written yet. But I know the characters of, like, the love interests, the couples. I know the names of all the couples, so I can start with putting them in and see how I feel from there. Because just between that is 12 names. This chart is going to get full very fast. And I did recreate this chart in Notion so that I could sort it by, like, series title, project title, stuff like that. Oh, do I want to change that to project title or project ID? I think I want to change that to product ID so that even if the title changes, I can still find stuff based on the project idea. Okay, cool. Let me do that first. I also need to name this. This is going to be my master list of characters. Boom. Okay. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to start with the characters from the Sultry Solstice series. I do have another short story coming out it's coming out at the beginning of May. I actually need to start getting the pre-order set up next week. By the 21st. The pre-order has to be set up by the 21st. So I need to start, I think I'll do that one as well. And then maybe I'll go back to stories that are currently published and add all those names in. I'll start with that. Published projects, the projects I'm actively working on right now, soon to be published this year projects, because I'm still aiming for Sultry Solstices to come out this year, even though I really don't think it will at this point. We'll see. But yeah, that's what I'm going to start off with. I'm going to get that done. And once I get that done, I will check back in and see how I feel about this and see if what I want to do moving forward. So, but if you have any opinions, if you're watching this and I haven't actually come back by the end of this and said, hey, this is what I ended up doing, feel free to drop what you would do. Because I have a lot of projects. A lot. And yes, not all of them have... even if I sort out the poetry, because the poetry, obviously, I'm not going to care because most of the poetry doesn't have names. There's a couple with names mentioned because they were more supposed to be like... how do I describe it? They weren't epic tales, but they were epic tales. That's not right. But anyways, there's a specific type of poetry. They were more story-based poetry. There is a... Can you tell me know nothing about poetry? There is a style of poetry that they are, and I don't know what the name of that style of poetry is. Okay, anyways, I'm going to go do that. Let's go do that. I got a task I need to do. Check in later. So as I'm filling this in, I'm already determined that I am probably not going to keep half these columns because I don't really care about this stuff. Birthdays and ages aren't really something that come up. There's like a range of ages as far as like my characters go, and 90% of them are over 18. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this chart. When I set it up, I was like, yeah, this is going to be fantastic. This will work great. And as I'm sitting here filling it out, I'm like, man, I don't want to fill out half this shit. I don't care about half this stuff for most of the characters. However, I do know myself well enough to know that there are going to be some characters where I'm like, I don't remember what I described them as, and I'm going to want this information. So I'm going to keep it in there, and it's going to be a bitch to fill it in for some of these characters because I'm like, I don't know where in the story I mentioned all this stuff. But I know it'll be worth it in the end, and it's one of those things where like future me with future projects will be very happy for this chart. But current me right now filling out this chart is very unhappy and very not willing to do this. It's great. It's great. So, but we're making it work. I'm doing it. I'm on Presumed Dead, which is the first in the Sultry Solstices series. I'm going to do that one, and we're going to take this one story at a time. One story at a time. Another conundrum. One of my characters has a familiar. And I know in other stories I have characters who have horses and dogs and cats. Do I put the pets on here as well? Because especially with pets, there are so few pets in all my stories. I do not want to use the same name for each pet more than once. I feel like each pet or companion, I'll call them companions. I feel like each companion deserves its own unique name. Do I make that a separate chart? Do I include that on this? Like, there are so many questions that I have with how to organize this information. And it's like, am I overthinking this? Absolutely. And I realize that I'm overthinking this. However, I know that especially with this universe, there are 49 stories. Future me is going to be very happy I have this chart to look back on, to make sure that I'm not using the same name, so that readers don't come at me in like 7 years when I finally publish the final story and they're like, you named these two brother characters who are the love interest of this character the same name as this character from this story earlier on in the same universe. And I'll be like, motherfucker. So, do I have to do this? Absolutely not. I don't realize this. Am I procrastinating? A little bit. Should I be working on like finishing up edits of a story too so I can send it off to beta reviewers? Absolutely, especially since I promised that to them Friday. Don't make promises you can't keep, people. To be fair, even if I wasn't doing this, I'd probably be sitting and staring at the document because I don't know what it is, but I cannot brain enough to look at these stories and actually edit them. All I want to do is read. All I want to do, that's actually what I've spent most of the past couple of days doing as I've been sorting and organizing. I've been refamiliarizing myself with different stories, but I don't remember what this story's about. And I open the document and I'm reading it. I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. I love this. And then I get to the end and I'm like, where's the rest, bitch? So I've spent a lot of time this week doing a lot of that. And so it's very slow going. And I know myself well enough at this point to know that even if I wasn't procrastinating in this way, I'd be procrastinating in another way. But at least this way, I'm being productive in my procrastination. And I'm doing something that future me will be looking back on going, thank you, past me. So it's just that I'm now in the moment and I have to figure out all of these things. Okay, I realized I never actually filmed a clip to wrap up this vlog, so here I am going to wrapping up this vlog. It's been an interesting week. It's one of these days I'll actually follow the schedule that I made for myself, but we're still... I don't want to go as far as to say we're still getting used to me not working, because that's not it at all. We're still trying to find a rhythm where, like, everything gets done while I'm not working, because previously it worked out because I would sleep while everyone was gone and then run errands in the afternoon if I had to, or like Justin would run errands in the afternoon. And if we go by that, since I'm not working and I'm not physically leaving the house, like no chores that I usually do, which all involve leaving the house, get done. So we're just having to figure that out in a way that still allows us to save money because like we're not going to be using as much gas kind of thing. But in other areas of life, like writing wise, I'm still figuring things out. I've been working on a master list of characters the past few days, and I think I finally figured out how I want to organize it. So let me go ahead and show you guys that. Okay, I've already filmed this a couple of times, so apologies, but this is the master list of characters. I've got this set up in Notion, and it is a gallery view which portrays a image. Most of these do not have images. I will be adding images as I either draw the characters myself or commission others to draw them for me, or even, fingers crossed, someday possibly get fan art. That would be amazing. But for now, the images I have in here are ones I pulled from the internet to give me like an idea when I go to draw them myself or commission someone to draw them. And they're more for the supernatural races than anything else. So basically all the humans have no images except for a couple here and there because I had specific ideas in mind based off of people I'd seen or like actors and actresses and stuff like that, but most of them don't have images. So since Tara is the main character in my first Sultry Solstices story, I'm going to go ahead and use her as our display. And the information that is displayed in this character chart, it shows her name, her full name is Tara Dyer. Other names that characters call her, whether that's a nickname or something else, and Keegan constantly calls her Doll, so that is there. Projects and roles, this is one of the things I changed. It currently says which story it is and what number in the series it is, as well as what role they play. Earlier I had the project ID in here and I was getting confused about what projects were what stories, so I just was like, screw it, let's put the whole story. And then I had changed it. Originally it wasn't Sultry Solstices, it didn't have it spelled out, it just said SS number 1. The problem is I've got two series that start with CC. There's Captivating Cryptids and Circus Companions, and both of those are CC, and I was like, oh screw it, we'll just put full names. And then we got an image here. Again, once I have an image, that'll go there. Gender is a drop down. Choices are androgynous, female, intersex, male, non-binary, trans female, and trans male. Species, I'm filling this in as I add characters to the chart, and currently the ones I have in here are human, witch, orc, ghost, vampire, gargoyle, hellhound, djinn, and wendigo. Then we got birthday and age. I will not use these most of the time. I added these in just in case. And then the birthday is formatted by month and day, not year. Sexual preference is another drop down, and the choices are heterosexual or straight, asexual, ace, aromatic, arrow, demisexual, demi, gay, lesbian, bisexual, and pansexual. I realize there are a lot more options, sexual orientations, but these are the ones that I have at least some knowledge of, even though I don't necessarily have a lot of knowledge of them, and they're ones I will probably include in stories. And then when we scroll down, again, we got a place for the image. I've got a place for the physical description. This is copied directly from the story description. I've got a list where I can place allergies if they have any. This is something that may or may not stay in here. I've got a checklist whether or not they smoke, drink, or do drugs. Won't focus. Okay. And then I have what they want, what they love, and what they fear. I have a place for miscellaneous information, such as like how they're related to different characters. And then I have a place for timeline where I can put like life events in case I need to do something like that. So all of my characters will eventually be in this chart. I don't currently have all of them, but I do have all the ones currently in the already written Sultry Solstice stories. Okay, let's take a look at something else. To pair with that Notion page, I have a spreadsheet in which I'm going to keep track of all names that I want to use in stories and whether or not I've used them. I started with a blank one and just inserted the ones from Sultry Solstices so far, so that's all that's in here, plus a couple extra names where I was starting to go through other stories. And basically how this is going to work is as I add a name that's already been inputted in here, it should highlight both names. It's not working quite correctly, but it is working, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so I typed in Tara because that's the one we've been looking at, and when I type in Tara, it should highlight both, but for some reason it's only highlighting the previously written one. I do need to change it so it highlights both of them. But that is how I'm going to track whether or not I'm adding a name I've already used or already had on the list. That way I don't have duplicate names that I use over and over and over again. And then another thing I'm doing is these ones all have hyperlinks versus these ones down here. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see. So these ones are not hyperlinked yet because they do not have a character chart, whereas these ones are all hyperlinked because they have a character chart and I've linked them. So what happens is as I click on this and I click the chart, it should open a new page and go to the character page in Notion, which is exactly what it does. So that is how I'm keeping track of all the character names that I've used and want to use in the future. Basically, as I hear or see names that I want to use for characters in the future, I will add them to this chart, and as I use them and add them to my master list of characters in Notion, as I add them to this master list of characters in Notion, I will link them to each other. So the ones that are black on this chart still are ones I have not created a character page for yet, but I will eventually. We're getting there. So there you have it. That's what I've been working on this week. I'm not 100% sold on the chart that I link to. I love the way I have the character pages set up individually with like their image, their name, and stuff like that. At this moment, it's just time to wrap this up. I haven't really done any writing or editing this week. That's literally what I've spent this week doing. I'm slowly making my way through the book that I've been reading since mid-March, so I'm not really reading anything. Almost done with that book, though. It's been really good. But I definitely have to read it in chunks and bite-sized pieces, basically. But, yeah. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys this week. I will see you all in my next vlog, which I will hopefully start filming tomorrow. So, bye, Dragonings. Are you guys going to come in? Can you please come in? I want to take a nap. So sometimes your plans are ruined by animals that refuse to come in. Can you guys come in, please? Ogre? Jester? Please? Bedtime? No bedtime? They're both staring at me like, what the fuck do you want us to do, woman? Can we come in now? Can we come into the app now? This one likes to stand right there and pretend I'm not talking to her. Because she's a little bitch sometimes. And she knows it. Big stretch, Ogre. Big stretch. Ugh. Sometimes your plans are ruined by animals that just do not want to follow your schedule. C'est la vie. Are you comfy? Did you invite her on your lap?
All I did was turn and she jumped up here. Originally she was sitting on my belly and then she moved to this position.
Okay. I don't know what's on your screen. I don't know if it's private or not, so I figured I'd just put a hand up.
Just the Discord.
Okay. Chester, are you sad because I won't let you back outside and he gave you treats? Is that what this is?
Brushing.
She...
Fur is all knotted up again.
Okay.
Here we go.
Jester, you want to be groomed? Jester, you want to be groomed? I can't give you a bath, but do you want to be groomed? I can groom you. So I was going to lay down and take a nap. But, they're taking up the whole bed. I like how they're doing an X, though. That's kind of cute. Why you guys gotta look so cute while you're sleeping and take up the whole bed? I gotta go find somewhere else to take a nap. There's a Bun Bun. Bye, Bun Bun. Bun Bun, run!